Put that in, yes or no, in the chat if you know you've already decided, or if you're still undecided, or if you decided, or um, just put that in just out of curiosity, because it's about it's about your money and how the election is impacting your financial future, your financial plans, right? Indeed. Oh, Miss Grandis has already voted. You know, I bet a lot of you will have already voted. I'm excited about voting on the actual day. Thank you so much for sharing your Wednesday night. This is Afro Economics Live, and I really wanted to say, oh, we're going to talk about politics and the election, because we're like less than a week away from the last day of voting, I guess. I've seen reports that we're not going to know who the president is by next week this time. How many of you have an opinion on that? Do you think we'll know? Do you think it's just going to be a delay? And then, we have to kind of prepare for if there is a delay, what will we see, financially? How will that impact us, financially as investors? Because the overwhelming majority of Afro economics members are investors. So, even though, like, one person was telling me that a political candidate was saying that most of us don't invest, that's not true. And most of us do invest. And I want us to be the examples and the ones who encourage others to feel more confident about participating in the US economy and participating in the stock market in whatever capacity that you choose to do, which a lot of you're participating in the stock market through your work retirement plans. So as I said in so definitely it's important that we have an understanding of market conditions. It's important that we have an understanding of how can the political arena impact me financially, on either way, on who's in Congress, who's in the White House, who's in both. We're going to continue to talk more as we broaden our understanding and our positioning on it in general, on what we should be thinking about, what we should be addressing uh, as the election period goes. And there's always going to be other election periods. And I think um, that the more intelligent investor that we become and stay, the more pleasant our financial experience will be, because there'll be some form of of currency until the end of time. So we can't say like money doesn't matter. I don't care about money. Let everybody else worry about that. No, we need to be good guardians and very organized and specific about what we're going to do about our money. So let's think just from the election. I want to also talk about the market, but from the election perspective, which party do you think actually had the best stock market returns? Like, were the best stock market returns done when we have a Democrat president or as a Republican president? And as I open up the microphones, I want to make sure that remember, I'm gonna need you to mute after you talk, like, or if you leave it open, please leave it open. Talk to me. Let me know. I want to know. I want to know your opinion. But just if somebody walks up on you, please mute it for them, because like it's so easy to forget. But stay engaged. So tell me, what do you have without Googling, because some of you like try to Google and stuff like that. It takes the game, it takes the fun out of it. This is for discussion and information purposes. What political party do you think gets the best stock market performance? Who wants to share their estimate? You,
Hmm.
what were you saying, Ms. Howard?
Oh, I think the Republicans.
You think the Republican Party probably has the best historical performance for, and we use like the S&P as an example. The um, and
Yes, I
the
think, and the reason why I think that is because most of I'm just going by the Senate. Most of them are rich white men who are very selfish.
so you feel like that it would be like under um in, and you feel like there's that the market would do better, under them because the Democrats don't have rich white men that are selfish.
They both have them. I believe they both have them, but I think there's more.
The- well, look, so this is the historical performance from a study done by Fidelity, and actually during the republic, it says average 4-year period after a presidential election. So the Democrats actually had better performance. Do you think that means they might have? I'm just joking. But that was funny. I was like, she's gonna be like, what? But it is a misconception. I would agree with you that I would say that most people probably think that that is the case. That under and that and that's the case with a lot of things that I don't know, because you're an investor and you really should want it to be just about the way it is that on average, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was 8.6 for Republicans and 8.8 for Democrats, you know, historically. So, hey, that means, what does that mean for us as investors?
All good.
Mm,
We say it's kind of the same,
Yeah.
yeah,
almost.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like you have to look out for yourself individually as an investor under either administration. But there is research that shows that if your particular party that you were rooting for doesn't win, people do what?
The cash out.
Yeah, they get emotional. And they
Hmm.
think like it's the end of the world. Certainly, I better get out of this. You know, when it's like, you know, when those are like just as you might have seen in the video that I was sharing in an interview, it's like so much fake news out there about what party does better, who's going to do better under different situations. Like I read I heard a radio commercial yesterday on a black radio station, and I don't listen to any other stations but ours. Like if I am listening to a radio station, it's a black radio station. And I heard this political ad that literally, if I didn't know any better, would terrify me about the future of this country. If their opponent, you know, wins, like, or what, like it was like really terrifying. As a black person, they were expressing to me how threatened my community is, you know and it was literally like, wow, I really hope that nobody is really buying into this, because emotionally, that's where the emotion comes in, and how much millions and millions of dollars are spent on getting you emotionally involved in the election, when we should be more just strategically involved in what each candidate stands for, and plan accordingly. Select your candidate, but also be flexible and intelligent enough. And I'm going to say that, like, really, just, smart enough to know that the wise person is prospering under either party being in leadership. Isn't that interesting? So the person who gets emotional and says, I got to get all my stuff out of there. I got to move all this. And, or they get calls from who they think is their financial advisor, because you're not going to get a call from me. So if you have, a financial advisor, and many people do, that motivate you through fear. Like, someone say, well, they're trying to get you to refinance, and after this election, how many people have gotten calls like that? If you don't do it now, and then you really need to say, what do you know that the rest of the world doesn't know? Because we don't know what's going to happen after the election. So if you do have short or term goals, or I'm considering refinancing and things like that, I need to make sure I'm looking at the numbers. At the numbers. A young member told me the other day. She said, I just don't know who to trust. And I told her, like, and I was thinking about Money Mayweather. Do you know what he says? Do you know what Money Mayweather says? Who knows what he says?
I don't, but I could guess.
What would you say he says?
Trust nobody but himself.
Right, you crazy. He would say God, it's because I
Oh,
like him,
okay.
so I really hope he puts God first. The
Okay.
look, but he says, people lie, but money
Mm,
don't lie. I mean, numbers don't lie. The numbers are the numbers. So it's like, if
mm,
you're like thinking about like who to trust, just get into the numbers. Get into the numbers. The numbers, it is what it is. Like, this one lady, I was looking at her numbers, and I told her, I said, send her back to the loan officer. And I was like, this is no good. This is no good.
mm,
They've got to correct, you cannot, pay these extreme fees for this. So, she sends it back, and then, the loan officer is like, well, it was ridiculous to spend that money, basically saying, that's, and my response to her was, then why did he offer it to you in the first place? If he's telling you because I rejected it, it's ridiculous. It should have never happened. But she was buying all these points to get this interest rate, but he didn't tell her how much she was paying to get it.
mm,
So when
mm,
I
mm.
looked at the numbers, so when the young lady said to me about, she don't know who to trust, because I was looking at the numbers, and the numbers that she had from someone else were jacked up. So I was like, you don't have to trust me. Don't trust me. The numbers don't lie, you know? Like, and there are sometimes, like, you get a number, you get a percentage, you got to be smart. Sometimes you got to look lower and, deeper into the numbers to get a better understanding. But if I have the numbers, I can find the truth. But that particular one was, someone was trying to sell her an insurance policy, and the premium was overpriced. And then I showed her a different insurance policy with a much bigger death benefit and a much lower price. So what does that mean? All you're going to ever get is the death benefit, right? So the
Right.
numbers don't lie. If the death benefit's bigger and you're going to spend less to get it, you don't have to trust me. You don't have to trust me. Don't trust me. Just look out for your family. I'd rather you not trust me and do better, right? Than to like me and do worse.
Right.
Don't
Mhm.
trust me then. Goodness gracious. But those I tell you, for us, I want us to continue. That's my goal in life, to empower us. But as I was saying on Sunday, for those of you, thank you, that did participate, I was talking about, when you vote, have a have an attachment to your ballot. Have what you're going to do, even locally. Like, what do you want and expect out of this candidate that you're voting for? And make sure that after that, we follow through, that you follow through. Because my job as your financial advisor is to make sure that you succeed either way. I'm literally bipartisan. I'm gonna vote for whoever I want to vote for. It doesn't matter who wins. I'm gonna make sure that we maximize the stock market and we maximize the situation and the things that they offer. Like when it first came out after Trump with the doubling of the standard deduction, and I had a member like call me. She said, "I mean, like, I know everybody's complaining about it, but I think this is a good thing." I said, I said, "Yeah, you're right." But it was like you can easily, like, just because you don't like something or someone, miss out on the numbers. Let's stay focused on the numbers. Let's stay focused, like, the on an important number that's important to me is that I believe that, especially for our community, we need to have a living wage. And I'm just going to continue to say it so that one day someone's going to be searching and they're going to search the word living wage and it's going to come up on one of our videos. We need a living wage. Minimum wage has got to go. Also, I have a problem with the Social Security. Is anybody saw about the Social Security raise for 2021?
Mhm.
Ooh.
It's 20 every you sometimes you get an inflation adjustment for Social Security payments. And the raise is very minimal for this
Very,
year,
yeah,
very small.
very
So
small.
we have to, yeah. And so
You
we
don't
have
even
to,
notice it.
yeah, you won't even notice it.
Mm.
Exactly. It's like 1.6. I think last year may have been like 1.9. So the other expenses, especially during COVID, there's been some things that have really inflated, have cost more. So we need to be aware, especially if you have seniors in your family, the help them through this. I'm gonna share with you a video because I did an interview with Bill today about that senior in debt situation, and some us reaching out and getting the resources that the seniors need. But
then
so
then your Medicare is gonna increase and take that little percentage of your Social Security increase away.
yeah, and I feel like there is some sort of clause where they cannot increase the Medicare and take all of that raise. But I don't know if there's income. See, there's always like an asterisk. See,
Mm-hmm.
see, words do lie. Numbers don't lie. But words do lie. No, but but you like the asterisk, like that, because I have seen it several times. But there's some sort of something that was created, like it goes on limits on Medicare increases. It's a clause that is called, because I did that on six one time. Um, in the I don't Congress limits, yeah, Congress limits Medicare plan Part B premium increase, bipartisan spending deal, um, includes fix that protects enrollees. Yeah, the monthly premium for Part B, which helps pay for doctor visits, um, the Part B premium could increase by as much as $50 a month for the beneficiaries. Over the last past decade, Part B stayed the same year to year, sometimes increased modestly or significantly. It actually even went down one year. But in 2011, the premium was 115, and by 2020 it was 144. So how can they say it didn't go up? And that's an increase. from 115 to 144, but the monthly increase, so a monthly increase between 25 and $50 in your 1 year would have been unusual and difficult for recipients to afford. So there is some sort of limitation on that. But and it says the annual increase on that Medicare is important to the majority of Medicare enrollees who receive the Social Security benefits. But we'll continue to look at that. Yeah, Social Security announced a 2021 COLA, that's your cost of living adjustment, will be 1.3%. Wow, that's lower than the 1.6 I said. By $20 a month, the average increase. Mm. And the estimate of a $4 increase on the Medicare Part B. Isn't that something? Wow. So, the research is showing that seniors are going in debt more and more.
Mm-hmm.
This
Yep.
is a problem because their income, is not being adjusted, and a lot, especially in our community, their major source of income is the Social Security.
Yes.
I don't know. I fell asleep on the last debate, but did they talk about Social Security?
I
Yeah, they
don't think
talked
so.
about doing away with it.
Stop.
Trump spending all of the Social Security money, and
Oh,
that I don't quite understand. But they were talking about him spending, and the plan will be bankrupt by 2023. So I'm not really sure I understand what they mean by him spinning or misappropriating. I'm not really sure.
Right.
well, what happened was when he said that the employers didn't have to do the payroll taxes for the rest of the year,
Okay,
that's how the Social Security is funded.
got
So he was saying that slowed it down, but he's saying it was a deferment that it has to go back in. But he said that, so he's like, well, if I win, you won't have to ever pay it back. So, but it's just was a way to try to create the stimulus,
it.
to
Right.
create more income. It was like a desperate move. But those 90 days, are not the
Mm,
problem that the Congressional Budget Office has, as we looked at in a previous workshop, that Social Security is anticipated to run out around 2030. But I think
mhm,
that's existed a long time, those estimates. So what they will have to do is move more money from the general services, and move
mhm,
it over to the Social Security Trust, because the
mhm.
Social Security Trust has its own fund.
Right.
Or they'll just extend the age of when you can go. Like, some of us might not be able to get Social Security till we're 75, right?
Mhm,
But that's how they've saved a lot of money to
Mm-hmm.
expand the age on that full benefit. It used to be, right, 65.
Yep.
Right.
mhm.
65. Yep.
And now people don't get their full benefit most until 66 or 67.
Yep.
They broke that down. It got it down to a science. They know what's up. And we have to be that particular about our own money as well. It's easier for you all because many of you, most of you have a job. So when you have a job, you know exactly what you're going to make. So it seems hard to me when someone knows exactly what they're going to make, right? To go over budget. But I think it's because you just get comfortable, right? And you go, well, I'm gonna get that next week too, and I'm gonna get that so that you don't live like someone like me who is constantly wondering, like, I've got, to work because I gotta eat. And the money's not coming from any other source but God. So it's like you're like, which is for all of us, right? But you have this like you have a different intermediary. But the definitely entrepreneurs have an extra challenge that people that are employed don't have. When you're an employer, you have different, you know what I mean, challenges. But employees, why is it so hard to stay within your budget? And I
because
sincerely mean that. Why?
because you figure that you're gonna get another paycheck in 2 weeks or however you get paid, and it's guaranteed.
But you, I mean, I, I, that's exactly what I said. That it must be based on that. Like, I should, because, you know, I'm, I was, basically my entire career, I have not had a salary. Everything has been sales. You create the sale, you get the client, you get the someone. I mean, even right out of UVA for 7 weeks, I had a job as a loan officer. And the whole time I was trying to get a job at the radio station in sales. I would have never been able to become a stockbroker. They wouldn't have taken my resume seriously, probably, if I didn't have that radio sales experience. And I loved it. I remember walking into his office and he said, "Well, how much do you need to make?" I said, "I just need the opportunity. That's it." He said, "Well, I gotta pay you some sort of salary." And I said, "No, really, you don't. I just need the job." Do y'all believe me?
I
Yeah.
believe you.
I really
Yeah.
said that. I was like, I
Mhm.
and I ended up making twice the salary that I was going to make if I had stayed at that bank.
Mhm.
But I did not know. And that's from the beginning of my career. So like me, it's like if you know exactly what you're going to make the next time you swipe a credit card and you know you don't have the money for that, you please think of me. That this is exactly what JB Bryan was saying. Whenever I'm using a credit card and leaving a balance, you are living beyond your means. Mm, right?
Right.
See,
Yeah.
JB, we've
Hmm.
conditioned ourselves to just live, kind of in the moment. And we see something and we say, hey, I
That's
want
right.
this. I want it right now. And I'll worry about paying for it, month after next, 6 months later. And there it is. We have
That's
it.
right.
We're happy. We've been satisfied by, what we have just gotten. And we move on. We worry about that later. The
It's so
vast
true.
majority of people, thank God, I'm not one of those. I'm more like you, but
And you
unlike,
have a do you have a real job too?
I have two jobs.
Uh-oh. That's
Yeah.
right.
We're going to
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
again. We talked before, but we're going to talk again.
Beautiful. Right? I love your picture. I
Oh,
saw
thank
it.
you.
Come on. Exactly. That's right. I can't wait. Somebody tell me they're ready to come on video. But I love it when y'all put your picture up. Indeed. And everybody that's hanging out with us tonight, please make sure that you go and do the membership. Take advantage of any level of membership. Don't forget that there's a free level of membership. But for Black History Month, it's time for us to get our mind wrapped around. I'm doing the Fest weekend. We're having entrepreneurship. We're having discussions about our just budgeting, our family finances, Black love and money, today's Black man. That all of these things that we have to, and of course we're going to do our Sunday morning, but it's only for members this year. Last year I just opened it up, to everyone, but this year it's just for members because I want to be able to have one conversation. It's hard when you're like, oh this and then all of this, like it's not hard, but it's cool. I just feel that is, I really want it to be a celebration, and I'm putting a lot of time into the book. And last year's book was great. This book is going to be greater, and it's a workbook, and it'll be free and included. So you'll be able to buy the printed form, but I'm gonna give you the ebook will be definitely be included. And who was that? Someone was saying something. Oh, Mr. Bozeman, how you doing? I know. I don't. I guess I don't know if your microphone may not be open, but if I do, I know I would have. I would have said something. I can't even find you. If you see Mr. Bozeman, Pat, help me. No. Please, on pick the one that says allowed to talk. Oh, there you go. That's a blessing. And we have so many members, not so many participants tonight that it's hard for me to find someone. I know a time. I remember a time.
Okay, I'm here.
How you doing, Mr. Bozeman?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Y'all don't know. I just love Mr. Bozeman. He is the beginning of well, anyway. How you doing, Mr. Bozeman? Please inspire us, especially in our
Oh, I'm really enjoying your talk.
oh, thank you.
And the fact that the numbers don't lie, that's good information to keep in mind.
That's right.
And
So
of course,
true.
we need somebody like you to make sure the numbers are telling what the numbers are telling us, because
Mm,
there's
mm.
a lot to understand when you're looking at some of these sheets.
Yes, isn't it?
That is
So
true.
true. So true. Like I had a client one time, their accountant told them to come talk to me, and he was doing like over $10,000 a month into a life insurance policy. And I said, like, why are you doing that? And he said, well, the agent told me that I'd be guaranteed, after 10 years of doing this, that I would be guaranteed like this $300,000 of non-taxable income for the rest of my life. And I was like, what? And he said, so, and I said, well, when you come in, bring me your policy. So he brought me the policy. He brought me all of this information that the person had put together to make that story with numbers. So Mr. Bozeman is so right. And then he had the information from the insurance company, and the information on the insurance company asked, has any information been given to you in addition to this policy? And the agent had checked off no, and the client signed it. But he actually gave him something that was like an attachment to the policy saying the lie about what was going to be done, because the actual policy, the guarantees in there were way below anything that the other paper from the agent were that had. Like, it was totally different. So when I called the company, when he came in, we called the company, and I said, because well, of course, like, we're talking about trust. I was like, you know what, you don't know me like that. Let's just call the company. So we call the company, and a lot of times it's just knowing the questions to ask. And then I said, I asked them the questions for the new member, and then they said, no, you're not going to get 300,000 guaranteed. The only amount that you're going to be guaranteed is the part, like she said, that's on this column. And it was like 50,000 and this and that. It was like, I was like, oh, but think about how much money. But he was only 1 year. And I'm just saying, like, but a year of paying that's a long time. Only 1 year deep. But he had, this person had blatantly broke the law. So guess what we did?
What?
We went to the regulators. We went to the regulators about it. And guess what they did?
Nothing.
I said, ain't no way that, you know what I mean, I could have done that to someone and they let them get away with that like that.
Wow.
The stuff that I see that gets done to our community, you know what I'm saying? And it's often because maybe we're more likely to do that, but it's often through life insurance.
That's right.
Isn't that interesting though? But we're more likely to have that than for me to have to analyze a portfolio. But like now, I have this, we have a new member, and he has this portfolio, and they've been charging him a fee for income guarantee withdrawal that he'll never be able to use.
Mm.
So because he's always done withdrawals, and the income guarantee was only applicable after a certain date. So he was supposed to wait till after this date in order to activate it. But the person, and this is like charging him like $500 a month
Mm.
for something he'll never be able to use. And I haven't been able to clearly articulate to him how they're robbing him for like 6 grand. You know what I mean? A year. Oh, like this is crazy. And I see this stuff like all the time. And the hard part is when you're the one who's giving the information, it's not always a good place to be.
Right.
Mhm.
But JB, here's the thing. I think sometimes, just like I told you, when we had our meeting, is that I don't understand it. I don't understand nothing. So I think sometimes a fast talker
That's right.
who knows how to, just
That's
smooth the
right.
talk, and you just like fascinated by the talk,
That's
and you
right.
get pulled into it, and in the end, you just don't ever. I know one time this man came, and this has nothing to do with it, with what we're talking about, but then it does. But I remember he came and told me about a sweeper.
Mm,
And this sweeper was like $600 or
mm.
something. And he took my sweeper, and I got to thinking, I said, you know what? I said, I'm making a payment on a sweeper, and I could go to Walmart and get a sweeper. So he gave me a card. I went the next day to the place and got my. He was looking at me like shocked, like, why are you here? I said, I want my sweeper back. And I said, you can have, and I brought the other one. I said, you can have this one.
There you
But,
go.
but
There you
that's
go.
what I'm saying. They'll come in
There you go.
wherever you
Oh, and
in
then
your.
don't let them give a woman a compliment. That's the scary part. I was watching a TV show one day and the man like said, "Oh wow, you look nice today." And it was like to show you how people will allow you to get over. And
Mhm.
then he was like, "Well, I'm selling, interest in such and such." And it was like Brooklyn Bridge or something like that. It was some bridge that didn't exist.
Mm.
And when he would give the women a compliment, they would fall for it every time.
Mhm.
Mhm.
They would
Mhm.
just buy and they were like, he was like, it doesn't even exist. They're buying something that doesn't exist. And I see that over and over. So sometimes, like, even to bring it back into our political discussion, sometimes we're adding to the story things that don't really exist. Like you'll say, if such and such wins, it's gonna kill my retirement account.
Mhm.
Well, we don't have any historical evidence of that. Like we have, so it's like based on what? Like all I can do is say like Ella, so Ms. Ramadan said the psychology of sales is something. Yeah. But look, even deeper than that is fear.
Yeah.
They sell
Yeah.
fear.
Yep.
They sell fear. Do you know how many people in my business, you know, will sell like just they'll sell on the fear of missing out. Like they'll make you feel like, hey, you know about so and so and so, right? Oh, you don't know about that? You got to put 20,000 in that. 'Cause, yeah, everybody knows about that. You can't miss out on that. And then just, if it's not that fear, it's the fear that you're doing something wrong. But
Mhm.
it's like definitely that the fear, if fear sells more than anything, like they were doing in that commercial, they were selling the fear of racism, like the fear, and it makes you like the fear of the go around it like, I'm gonna sell like the fear of of death, or if you're not there, for your kids. I mean, how many life insurance policies have probably, been sold or just like, I mean, that's a real concern.
It is
But
a real concern.
yeah, but you don't need to be buying it, based
Right.
on fear. You need to buy it based on what amount of income needs to be replaced upon my untimely death. That's nice. Let me say that again. I'm just joking, but that was pretty good because you look, say they're just basking it. No, because there's a point where you will not need it. There is a point where you could not need life insurance
That's it.
and everybody's going to be all right. But if there's, so you can't tell, like somebody can't really tell you. Like you might have 5 kids and you don't believe in it. I meet people who from a religious perspective don't believe in insurance. So nobody has so nothing should be purchased based on fear, right? Yep. Pastor Bozeman says false evidence appearing real indeed. Hmm. So selling fear goes, we should just sit there and like just look at commercials, and just see like how, especially from the political commercial, like about like the fear of losing your job, the fear of your business going under, the fear of taxes going up, the fear, what I'm saying? Everything has been based on like fear.
Right.
Mm.
That's how we're controlled.
Yeah. Well, they can feel like they can control you more if you keep us, especially our community. We do not, we're not. It's not safe for us to be afraid. It's not safe for us to be working from a place of fear. We have to believe that we're completely protected. Because if not, then you run into the situations that we're having where our men are running from cops, you know what I mean? Because of this, the things that we're seeing on television, where I would like to say the overwhelming majority of times the stops don't end with us being shot. But we're not shown that. So when we're shown fear, we start making all of our responses based on somebody's going to kill me.
Yep.
Can I share something that's biblical about what you're just saying?
Yes.
It's found in Matthew's, the 6th chapter, the 34th verse.
Mm,
And it says, "So do not worry about tomorrow.
mm,
It will have enough worries of its own.
mm.
There is no need to add to the troubles each day brings."
That's right.
We need to take life one day at a time
That's right.
and don't worry about tomorrow. And yesterday is gone. So focus on today.
That's beautiful. Look at you. You got in COVID and turned into a minister.
Why
Oh
you
my
say
goodness.
that?
She used to be a hip hop
I
rapper, stripper. Oh, that is your turnaround and change of life. I'm just joking. I'm only joking about the stripper part.
okay.
she was a hip hop dancer. Just as of 6 months ago. Exactly. He was performing with Lil Wayne. Look at that. But that's we need God everywhere. And that's right. You can still be with Lil Wayne and still know God. That's right. So we do have to make sure that we don't allow our fear to stop us from moving forward, from staying calm. No, I mean, think about the people who sold everything at the end of March or nearing the end of March of this year because they thought COVID was the end of the world.
Yep.
And then now, like, we're almost at record numbers again.
Hmm.
And now it's dipping, but it's over totally different stuff. It's dipping, and we got every different reason of why the market is going down. What is one of the reasons that you think that the market is going down? Anybody random?
Politics.
Election, yeah.
The
Election.
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 But like,
Congress didn't pass a stimulus.
yeah, the
Mhm.
stimulus is a big issue. Biden in the lead is a big issue. Like the then if it was flipping, if Biden wasn't in the lead, there'd be an issue for the market. It's just the
Yep.
market doesn't like things that it can't predict. It thinks that it can predict. The only thing that helps you deal with the market is time. That's it. We don't know. There's no like amazing solution or magic that I can, tell you, like, or anybody. I mean, I was sitting there just listening to different analysts talking tonight, and I was like, I can't believe like people really listen to this stuff. It was just
But not
Mhm.
only do they listen to it, they believe it.
right.
Yep.
And they said I was on a panel. What day was on the panel? And they showed us on Monday, and I was like listening to all these different, people talk, that were in sales of selling different things, and then I said, you know what? I hope that everybody out there listening realize that the answer to all of these financial questions is it depends.
Mhm.
Because
Uh,
everything that we're talking about is for information purposes,
Yep.
and everybody look kind of like sad, but that's the truth. That's
Yep.
the truth. That we like, when you sit there and you tell people everybody should do this, everybody should do that, and you need this, you don't even know me. Like you don't know. They don't know what you need. They have no idea. And when anybody ever tells you what you need to know about, you should already that should be like an alarm. That should scare you. That where they go, "Oh, this is what you need." They don't know anything about you. And so, definitely be very aware of that as you go through this season, that nothing can happen. If we find out tomorrow that Biden's leading for by 90%, you know, that tells you nothing about your long-term financial goals. Absolutely nothing. Your long-term financial goals still exist. It could be that I
right.
need to make sure that I can still make money, 10 years from now. What might it mean for my, short term? Like, and I think that that's why, like, he ran that commercial about nobody on whose income, everybody whose income is under 400,000, will not see a
Mhm.
tax increase. Because I think it was trying to like say, like, give people an idea like of what they can expect, but it's not enough for the market. It's like
Right.
they want to know when the stimulus is going to decide it. When are you
Yep.
going to give people more money so that they can come spend, spend, spend with my store? Like, and they want it before the holidays. And
Right.
what
That's
is,
right.
yeah, and what's the way to get it out there and happening? Mm. So,
One
but
thing I'd
mhm,
like to, okay, and looking at all this, that there's all this fear about things falling apart, and there are a lot of things falling apart. But in going through the grocery store today, I was looking for the Clorox wipes, which are unavailable,
mm,
and there were three new brands of wipes now
that's
Yep.
right.
out there that I
That's right.
never would have seen if Clorox hadn't run out. So
So
there's
true.
always something coming through, breaking through, uh, that
So true.
shows us that it's not dead and that we're not really dying. It's
Mm.
just this crisis shows opportunity for another way of
Woo.
doing it.
It's so true though. I mean, like, well, I mean, we have to think about like there was a time like before COVID where when I would leave the office, I would almost like every other day go and buy a rotisserie chicken, from Arby's.
Okay.
Now I cook every day. It's
Mhm.
it's rare, if I buy something from, outside, like that's cooked or prepared food. Like, so COVID definitely like um got me back into where I should have been.
Amen.
Out of the like of all of a sudden like putting my family, my health, first again. And a lot of people have started like eating together again. And
Yes.
that it has brought like some positive change that we need, and I do think it's very important that we focus on that. And like before COVID, I was exercising 4 days a week. Now in COVID, I exercise 5 days a week, you know and and I'm more, much more efficient, and look, started on my doctorate. And that outside of COVID, that would not have happened.
Right.
Mhm.
So, definitely, you're right. Like we definitely need to look at the opportunity. Yes, indeed. Miss Bullock said people spending time together in the parks. Who you been in the park with, Miss Bullock? She said she said people. Uh-huh. Don't look, don't you throw that people with me. I know. Who you been in the park with, Miss Bullock?
Look, I live right here by Maymont Park. The
Uh-oh.
park is the park is full. It's all they got rid of the ducks or the geese or the swans so people could walk in the park.
Oh,
They
that's
hauled them away. And you see the families, the whole family be out, even the grandparents.
that's so good. That's so good. Cause
Those
I
Richmond natives, they
that,
fussed about those geese being all the way though. They
that's
did not
right.
like it.
That's right.
They didn't get
and
rid of
and
all of
I
them.
and I think that what we have gone through this year, racially, I believe has helped. If we allow ourselves to see it and don't give in to the negativity, I believe that it has helped us increase our confidence in ourselves as Black people. But it's also helped people that aren't Black develop a better understanding
Yeah.
of our experience.
Yep.
That's right.
Yes,
Yep.
Don't you think so? Like,
Yeah.
they have
Absolutely.
actually
I
tried.
agree with that. Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Because we always have racial equity. It
Yes.
has it has gotten so that it's getting on my nerves though. But because it's just like, oh, oh, I just found this, because they're telling people to share any type of racial or any that type of
Okay.
article, and some of it is,
Too
stuff
much.
that we known about for a long time, and
Yeah.
they're just like all excited about it, and I'm just like, I'm so sick of it right now. I'm
Yeah.
the
And you
angry
have
Black
to,
woman right now.
I can imagine, because you have to work with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But it's
but
like,
it's for
mm,
once, when you used to talk about bias that was discrimination that came at you, nobody would believe it. They'd just shake their head and say you're imagining
That's
that.
true.
that's right.
So finally, they see that it's actually true. Uh, but a war had to break out in order for them to see it. But
Mm,
the
mm.
upside is they do see it.
It's so true,
Right.
though. It's so true. It
But
is, I
diehards
mean,
that say it's not true still.
what'd you say, Miss Davis? Your feedback, you're getting a funny feedback. What was that, Miss Bullock?
It was Miss Bullock.
Oh, what'd you say?
They have I forgot my thought.
Cause you been at the park. You probably she probably sitting out there right now, Stemmy. Don't that's a beautiful thing though. That is beautiful to wake up and look out at the park. Isn't it? I know it really is. And I think that that's what we need to focus on. I am actually going to the polls on election day. Um the I don't know. I just enjoy that energy on that day. So I'm gonna get out there.
Yeah, me too.
You
I'm
do
going on
too?
election
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. And then Michael has a different polling place, so he already went to vote so he could go with me and Aziza on our day. So that was nice.
Mhm.
But so if we do need to get the car quick, I'm just joking. I think it's gonna be all right. I think it's gonna be fine, right, Sadie White?
Oh gosh.
But the and then also so as we're going through this week, and I think that we're going to see over the short term continued volatility with the market. We have like some, major companies that are coming out with earnings tomorrow. So, and they're all technology companies. I think it's Amazon, I think Apple, um, even Microsoft might be coming out with their earnings tomorrow. So it's, definitely um we need to just brace ourselves that you might see some changes even in your work retirement plan, because when we're talking about Apple, Google, Amazon, Facebook, and if their earnings numbers come out tomorrow after the market close and they're not as investors anticipate them to be, or you know, that I mean, I would be amazed that they're up, but they you actually get a positive movement when they're down, they're not down, when the earnings are not down as much as you anticipated. But I think that in the third quarter, even I just kind of projected that. And I remember doing this in a project I was working on. And I said, I think that the third quarter we'll see some growth, meaning some earnings growth, and businesses will start coming back. And then by the fourth quarter, but now we're seeing, see, everything can change because if they have to do a lockdown again because of the cases that have to increase, if the cases increase of COVID, where it's like, no, close down the stores, everybody go home again, that could change everything economically. And we have some businesses, if they don't go through the holidays and they don't make the money that they want through the holidays and they don't get this stimulus check so that people feel better about spending money and keep people in their houses and stuff, you know, it could get ugly over the short term. It's, you know, we're feeling that already. So it's about making sure that you understand the difference between the short term and the long term, and where our portfolio already needs to be positioned for this time. I mean, when I'm initially setting up your portfolio, I'm, adjusting to you. That's why it takes time to get to know you, like on how you're going to feel during times like these. Great times are easy, but what makes you a successful investor, I have discovered over these more than almost 30 years of being in financial services, believe it or not, look, is that, it's the hard times where people really want to make sure that you get them through. Yeah, I might not even get a call when everything's good. It's the hard times where I need to be there. So that I want to offer you a kind of consistency that we've never seen before, but you so deserve it. You deserve to have consistency. You deserve to be able to know I'll be there for you. You deserve to know that. That's exactly the way you should be treated, even, if you're not with me. And I just want us to like lift up our level of requirement so that, you know, you have a new standard of excellence, and it started from AfroEconomics. Like, this is how I deserve to be treated. I don't care how much money you have. This is the way it should be done.
Man,
We deserve that, don't we, Mr. Bozeman?
yes, we do.
Yes, we do. It's like everybody's forgotten about service. Everybody's forgotten about love. Everybody's forgotten about appreciation. You know, you don't have to do your business with nobody. It's like some point now, it's like that. I mean, if you really think about it, like you do business with people. And I was thinking about my Amazon delivery of groceries. And then they want you to tip the person that doesn't even bag it up, doesn't cook the food. You know what I mean? Anything. And
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm a tip them. I'm a tip them. But, how can you decide what the tip is going to be for a person whose job is merely to take them to their car because they don't bag them and they don't take it off the shelf? Somebody at the store does that. They don't get any of the tip, you know, but you haven't. Where do you show me your excellence? Where does that come in? So let's make sure that we show appreciation where appreciation deserves to be given. And then more, importantly, like realize like that you deserve it. Like that's just what you deserve to be treated. I think my biggest challenge is like raising up our criteria of excellence. Like I don't ever lose a customer because something is better. Like, oh, I want, because they can't say it. Because we sell every stock, every bond, every mutual fund, every ETF, everything is available right here. And when people talk to me about, oh, I've been looking for a black bank everywhere, I go, wow. That's amazing because God gave them so much more than a black bank. Our accounts, like you have an FDIC part of your brokerage account, and do you can have stocks in your brokerage account? You can have everything at AfroEconomics that you need. So anything that we do differently is really you're taking a step side, in most cases even down, where you don't even know the people. So
Well, you
the
know, the world
mm,
you're in is such a foreign world to black people, and
mm,
to have you to have you as a guide is a great asset.
mm,
But there's so much that we don't understand.
mm,
So, you're mentioning the FDIC, and uh,
mm,
these are great initials, and I know what they mean. But
mm.
to tell the
But
truth, I didn't know that you had that aspect to you.
mm,
So
yes,
there's so much to you that we need to understand, and I wish there was an easier way for us to get it,
that's
because
right.
then we can understand your real value. I mean, you're
That's
That's
so
right.
right.
valuable right now, but there's even more value to you that than we realize.
No. And that's my challenge, to
That is your challenge.
yeah, that is
Because
the
I,
challenge.
like I have expressed, I don't know anything about finances, but I do
Mm,
know enough to know the basic. I did
mm,
I learned enough to get out of the debt that I was in. And
amen.
even although I had to file bankruptcy, but and it has been a long time since I have been in
Mm,
financial debt.
mm,
So I promised myself as long as I live, I will never do that again.
good for you.
So, and I have a fair amount of savings, and I have a
Mm,
credit union. So I have that
good
thing.
for
So
you.
that's what I'm trying to learn. But even though when I express this to people, even my sister, I said,
That's right.
I'm listening to this lady, and I'm going to be a member. And her thing was, well, when you join, let me know how it is. I'm trying to tell you to come to participate on Wednesday
That's
night.
right.
That's how you have
That's
to.
right. That's
But
right.
everybody wants you to tell you how it is, and I'm
That's
telling
right.
you how it is.
That's right.
What else
And
do you need?
that's that's right. And I hear people call me and they go, "My mom told me to call you." You know? And I'm like their mom's age. You know? I'm like, "Well, please have your mom call me too." Like, like this is a challenge. Do you know, like, it's like 2 out of every 7 bankruptcies are like people over 65 now and stuff like that. It's like a growing number, of people who are their social security is being garnished here because of school
Yeah,
loan debts and stuff.
because of school loans. Yes.
This is like, I'm like, I don't know what mama's thinking, but she's got to get it together too.
That
Leave.
bankruptcy is not going to help them on the student loan, though.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, exactly. Even on the base, yeah, they have to be doing it for the credit cards and other things. You're
Oh,
right.
right.
Mhm.
I don't know but especially the federal, and look, and only the federal student loans can actually take that garnishment. So I guess the other ones they actually will take you to court on
Mm-hmm.
those private loans. But I would say that the majority of them are not grown folk going back. It's them signing for grandkids and kids.
Yep.
That that's a challenge.
That is a challenge. I hear
Yeah,
that all the time. So many people, and I'm not saying that is right or wrong, but you also have to think of yourself because they're always looking out for these grandkids, and
that's
these
right.
grandkids are not thinking about them. They're not looking
That's
out
right.
for them because they
Oh,
won't even come out and empty your
ooh,
garbage if you call them up on it.
yep,
No, grandma, can I come tomorrow because so
yep,
and that's the bill you got to pay for because of that,
yep.
so
We have a I have a we have a member who that happened to, and she had to go to court, and they started doing the garnishment, and she couldn't pay her mortgage anymore.
Wow.
hmm
That's terrible. Look,
Wow.
that's just terrible. and she was taking care of an adult. So her and the adult she was taking care of, and they had to move out.
Wow.
Horrible. The and another lady I know, she signed and for not a nephew, and he she had to take him to court. He still wouldn't show up.
Yeah.
Like, and he was insistent like he's not going to pay it.
No.
So
That's
JB, when
mhm,
I hear people talking about reparations, the first thing I think is to repair me for the damage that has been done, pay the student loan debt that I owe, because I had to get in this
mhm,
massive amount of debt
mhm.
because I didn't learn what I was supposed to learn
Mm.
in elementary, middle, nor high school.
That's
You
right.
know,
Or you
that's my
needed that for,
idea of reparations. And
but or everybody gets a certain amount, and if you have school loan, you
yeah,
spend it
yeah,
on that. And
yeah,
then those who were able to get into a training program and didn't have school debt, they shouldn't be punished,
true.
for not having gone to college. That's the only
That's
thing. I
right.
was just talking to somebody about that today. I was
Oh
like, but
God.
if they pay off everybody's loan, what about the person who, or like, like me, that's already paid it off? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Gotcha.
I'm like,
So
wait a minute, wait 1 minute. Like, what I'm saying?
well, that's very true. I'm glad you brought up the other
Yeah,
side of it
yeah,
because, of course,
exactly.
I'm a Republican, so I think about myself only. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, I know. Y'all are bad. Exactly. There's only one party here. It's AfroEconomics. We are
That's
all
right.
here. We are one big party.
One big happy family.
We are, but I really do believe like God has big plans, that we're going to be able to be consumer advocacy group that will be able to protect us from things that have, in the past we didn't have a voice.
Yeah.
And I hope that we'll be able to, make a voice on things that are like, if the changes with Social Security, some things just will impact us more, no, than others,
You're
because we're
right.
more
That is
likely,
so true.
our community depends on Social Security more than other communities,
Mm-hmm.
because of wage discrimination
Yep.
and
Yep.
experiences. So if you've been discriminated with wages, then you haven't been able to contribute as much into Social Security through your career. So your check is smaller.
Yep.
That's right.
It's, but it's our this, this is I believe, and I mean, it's not like the easiest thing to say, but a lot of change for our community, the only part that we can control is our sacrifice. And we're not going to, that it will come down to who's somebody's going to buy a river house, and somebody's going to set up an investment account. And
Yeah.
the say like the river house might end up being like, more, but if history is any indication of the future, the market will end up being a lot more, investment portfolio will end up being a lot more than, the river house that you had to have, and weren't able to
Mm-hmm.
put it more away for your legacy. And I mean, and it's hard to say that because we live in a society that's like, what about me? I ain't trying to leave nothing behind. It's like, I'm not trying to write books and all this stuff that's got to be doing this. Like because we live in a society that doesn't really program us to be that way, but we're from a legacy of people that do value your footprint. I think that each of us need to have a commitment to what footprint do we want to leave on this planet.
Right.
I was reading a essay today that James Baldwin wrote, and I was like, look at this! Like this man's been gone a long time, and I'm
Yes.
reading an essay that he wrote.
That's
No,
applicable today. So just like,
oh yes,
oh,
especially his political views. Like, you know, in
Yes.
this one, he was about something about the serpent. I know that Andrew, you probably read that, and it's about religion and politics. And he was, you know, talking about how when there was a party shift, when
Uh,
all of the evangelists started going into the Republican Party around with Ronald Reagan.
right.
And you
All
know,
the
but do you remember
Dixiecrats.
that one? Yeah. But it was it was interesting, and they ran it, and it was they ran it in Playboy magazine.
Oh,
But it was, you know, just like his exploration of, but I'm just saying, but you know, his estate probably made a lot of money about off that. And I think it ran after he passed away, they found it. He wasn't really, he was just writing. But, you know, developing you know, that name, that brand. Miss Perkins was speaking of. No, your inheritance is so much. It's not
Mhm.
just money.
But I think a lot of those Harlem Renaissance writers, um, not a lot, but a lot of them, they're seeing, I guess their estate is seeing their legacy because a lot
Mm,
of them died
mm,
poor in a mental institute,
Isn't that
Mhm.
sad?
just, yeah.
Yeah.
And then now, people are finding that out and they're buying, markers for their graves and stuff.
Mm,
But
that is sad.
while they were
But
alive,
and
they
look,
didn't
and most of the
benefit from
time
it.
though, that's women.
Yeah, true.
That's, you know, a black woman is more likely to grow old and be poor than any other demographic, even though we're the most
Mhm.
educated.
The
We
most
gotta
educated.
we gotta review that. You know, we
Yeah.
got to address that. It's
Mhm.
like, what's going on? The but I definitely I wanted to share. I wanted to share something else with y'all, and I forgot what I wanted to tell you. But I wanted to tell you something else. Then I got distracted with the black woman. But we do need to leave our legacy and take it seriously. The first principle of Afroeconomics, and 2021 will be here before we know it.
Mhm.
And I think that um, maybe that should be one of our major underlying themes of, you know, legacy, because we create it while we're living
You know,
generation. Hmm.
there's some men who are complaining that black women are being elevated in
True.
in they see it as an insult or against black men.
Mm.
And
And
what's
it is sad
what,
because it does appear that way. Like, and we've been working forever. Like, black women have more work experience. They, you know, do all these things, have been elevated, and then still, like, you know, the overwhelming, you know, majority don't, you know, have any net worth.
yeah,
Essence Magazine said the average net worth is like $100. But do you
Hmm.
know that Kamala Harris and her husband, their income last year was like 4 times that of Joe Biden and his wife?
Wow.
They made like about $4 million. You know how?
How?
Her husband, I mean, it's like seriously,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh my
What does
goodness.
he do? He's a Jewish guy, right?
Is
yeah,
he Jewish? I don't know, but the
yeah. He's
Yeah,
Jewish.
he's
oh,
He's
Jewish,
okay.
Jewish.
The
but I don't know what he
he's
do.
he's a an intellectual property attorney.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Like
yeah.
the, I
Thought it
mean, I'm
was.
like, they make that much? I just think, look, I just think of them as copyrights and
Mhm.
stuff, but it could be like working with people with royalties, and you know, he's in Los
Mhm.
Angeles, I think. So
Mhm.
there, you know, he could have like these big entertainers that he's working with,
Yep.
because that's
Right.
intellectual property.
Yeah.
He is making, but look at that. She's that wealthy because she's with a white man.
Right. Yep.
But
That's
she's not
That's
really a black woman. She's not really.
true.
She's a
True.
person of color.
True. Mhm. Mhm. A woman of color.
Yeah,
You're
she's
right.
not black like me.
You're right. You're right. You're right. Exactly. He would
That
touch that.
proud black
Look, look.
woman.
He would touch that root, and he know he was in the wrong place. And look, I be like, I did not let you invite you there anyway. Oh my, isn't it true?
Oh gosh.
But it's a joy. Look, it's a blessing to be black.
That's right.
Amen. Say
Amen.
that
Amen.
again. Yes.
Amen. And the descendant of a slave, I truly believe that that is why I am who I am. Like,
Hmm.
no matter what God took me through, like, I really believe that because of that energy, because of that strength, because of that tobacco worker, I mean, that's in my DNA, because of that cotton picking, me,
Mhm.
feel that I
Hmm.
come from. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That's in there. So
I
it's,
agree.
I don't get tired. You know what I'm saying? I don't get tired.
Mhm.
Sometimes I sit there and I think and I go, like, I don't. I mean, and I'll do whatever I've got to do. I will clean a toilet. You know what I'm saying? If things are like, because I believe that much in Afroeconomics. If I had to do something else to make this work, I thank God every day that all I have to do is focus on Afroeconomics, because a lot of people have a dream and that dream cannot provide for them right now.
Yeah,
That's right.
Isn't it
that's
true?
true.
I mean, how blessed
That's
I am.
right.
Like, I feel like I can't complain. Like, cause I know, and that's how I have this huge commitment to helping entrepreneurs know that, nobody gave me a loan. I started with
Hmm.
zero and bills. It's nothing but work, hard work. And the day I
And
started my business, I remember my first client. She's passed away now, but I remember, and my first deal was enough to get me through that first month. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Pay the
Hmm.
rent at the office, keep on moving. That's it. Like, and been working
That's,
ever
yeah.
since. No, it was March 10th, 1995. I
well, I
haven't
Wow.
had
agree
no
with
week
you
off.
that
Huh?
energy you have is from your ancestors. The physical law says energy can be not be created or destroyed.
Mm,
So all of our oppression, all that energy that was oppressed in our ancestors just
mm,
came down through the generations. It never went away. It's
mm,
just been building and building and building so that we
mm,
can explode onto the
mm.
scene now.
Mm, it's so true. I mean, you think about, like, I was thinking about listening to a speech Fannie Lou Hamer on over the weekend, and as you're thinking about the voting stuff, you
Yeah,
think about her,
right.
how she was almost beat to death,
Yeah.
and all that did was like push her more.
Yeah.
She wasn't afraid. That's like amazing to me. You know how many people will be almost beat to death, and then they would be like, "I ain't doing that again." Like, she probably hurt with every walk that she made. I mean, four men beat her and she lived with sticks, and she lived in her eye, her kidney,
Yeah.
lifelong, lifelong damage just for going to register to vote.
Hmm.
Like,
And I always think about that, with two men who will beat you until they're exhausted. So,
yes,
it
and
wasn't
then
no
turn it
time.
over, to two more.
Yeah, and then they had to sit on their legs. So and I was just thinking how she survived that.
That's amazing. She
And
Yeah,
then you
survived
got
that.
to
she kept going.
She survived that for me. She survived that for
That's
you.
what. Yes, she
She
sure
had
did.
and
she had to. You know what I'm saying? And that, to me, I feel like that's why my vote has to mean something. And I
right,
don't like when somebody just says, well, I have to just give this, or, what I mean, go and do this or go and do that. Like, I feel like my vote, that's, what I mean? People risk their life for this.
Hmm.
It should mean something. It should mean that I know that a person can go to work for 40 hours cleaning a toilet is going to be able to take care of their life, and their
Yeah.
family. Right now, we don't live in that world. How you
and
going
Hmm.
to
and
have a minimum wage they can't eat off?
Nobody should have to beg us to go vote. You shouldn't have to do that.
That's
We,
right.
we should be ashamed of ourselves
The
that we
reason
have to
they
be
don't want to
begged.
the reason they don't want to go vote is because their life has no direct reflection to
Yeah.
anything right now.
Yep.
You're talking about, an energy that's out there in our community that everything is just about sex, drugs, you know what I mean? And feeding a weakness and alcohol.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah.
trying to get us to give in to we are less than what I say you are. Like they
Mhm.
don't think that it's important. That they don't think that they have any value. They don't think any, and I don't know what you could do to help me feel better because nobody's talking to me. Like nothing, none of these commercials are talking to the person who is working and cleaning that toilet all day and still making minimum wage. I was telling you, I've told y'all about that study they did on Baltimore City college graduates, and only 20%, just over 20% of the college graduates were actually living above minimum wage after graduation.
Hmm.
Oh,
That's a,
I believe it.
that's crazy. So now you got a school loan
That's
and you
right.
still working on minimum wage. That's a
Yep.
challenge for me. So why would I go and vote and it's not addressing my problem at all?
Yep.
Because the whole healthcare issue is an attempt for middle class people to make sure that they get affordable healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
Because the poorest among us are going to get coverage regardless. They know that, so they don't have to be concerned about that. But what they have to be concerned about is where we going to live.
Yeah.
There's nothing, I can't afford anything. They don't the police come in my neighborhood and treat me like I'm nothing. These police come here, and the school, is not, I can't even, my child can't even go to school. I can't even work. We got COVID. Nobody cares about us. They stopped my check. So, I mean, if I was in that state, I wouldn't be excited about walking up to the school for election day either.
Yeah.
What's it
Definitely it
going to
beat you
change?
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Beat,
true.
beat worse than down.
Yeah.
You're right because we see the value, but the young people they see
Or
what
people,
you
just
what
poor
you
people. Just
Yeah.
yeah,
Poor.
they
Yeah.
see what you see. And some of them don't have health coverage. They work at a daycare center and they work at a grocery store. Neither one sometimes don't cover the health care. You're working at the grocery store part time,
oh
so that's
yeah.
not
The
they're not
you
going to
know
give you any benefits. And daycare centers, they very seldom give their employees benefits.
and
So
a black woman is very likely to work at a job that does not have benefits
Mhm.
that's right.
Hmm.
and is paying her too little with a degree.
Yep, with a degree.
With a degree. So I was just talking to the single parent the other day, and she was talking about how much money she's spending on tutoring for her child. And I was saying that the school system that's a school system problem because they should provide more academic support. You know what I mean? Parents
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't have to be spending that much money. I was doing that too. In
Mhm.
public schools, they need to have, tutoring available. That is ridiculous.
But if you go to a public school, certain school districts, I'll just say because I live in Pittsburgh,
Mhm.
the school district will say that they have it, but people don't take advantage of it.
Yeah, and it
Mhm.
has to be. I've noticed that they'll do it in like inner city, you know what I mean,
Right.
school. But now you have all of these black people that are actually living in the suburbs. They've been pushed out of the city.
I'll just
Mhm.
So, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Or they left and said, well, I'll go out here and I won't do like they feel like they have to do private school. You won't have to do private school, but you don't have the support out there.
You don't have the
Mhm.
support.
You don't. It's amazing. All of these things say to me is that the future of our community and your own future is really in your hands, and that we have to make sure we make a commitment to being a positive example because somebody's watching us. Somebody's watching us. I
We
want
also need to know that it's not just on our shoulders, that we have God in partnership with us,
to, woo, that's
and that
right.
we need to call on that energy, that power to carry us through,
That's
because it's
right.
always there.
Yep. And we carry such a spirituality with us as a people that a lot has been robbed of us and from us in our relationship with God because of some things that have been misled, in religion. And we need to, I believe, start focusing more on our relationship with God and come back to God no matter what, if religion has disappointed you, because I think a lot of black people have been disappointed by the ceremony of religion.
Right.
Don't,
But
yeah.
you gotta know that your relationship with God is a personal relationship. You
Mm,
don't need somebody between you and God
mm,
carrying the message. You
mm,
have direct contact. God is
yes.
always there. Like Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is within. So
Mm,
God is always with us. And
that's
we need
right.
to take advantage of that fact.
That's right. You don't have to worry about, oh, I haven't, given enough money and they're not going to like me and I can't sit on that row and I can't, do this. No, don't allow it to do, because, I've had several religious experiences that have broken my heart. No, and we can't allow that to come between us and God.
That's right.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Yeah. Then there peace. Then we can have that peace, and we can know that we're unstoppable, and we can know that we're going to ascend, and we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right, better than all right. But
Mhm.
that's what our people need, so that we will be motivated again and will say, you know what, I want to start my own business. And yeah, I know, and no, I don't need to have that car to make me feel good about myself. Right now, I'm just going to get on the bus and I'm going to focus on my business and I'm going to use my little computer and I'm going to make these sacrifices that are required in order to build the enterprise that I've been put here to do. But if we don't, then we're going to always have these, for many people, dreams that they never addressed because they got caught up. Yeah. Miss Richardson wrote a whole lot about public schools. Somebody else can read it. Look, who's going to recite it? I
It's
don't,
the truth. It's definitely the truth.
What did you
Yeah.
say, Miss Richardson?
I was basically commenting on what someone else had said about the tutoring, because we had the same experience with our granddaughter. Math has always been a subject where we've had to get extra tutoring and extra help, and we've had to pay for it as well. And but when they did have the tutoring available from the school, it wasn't what she needed. It was so that they could help them pass the standardized test.
Mm,
It wasn't geared to what the teacher said her areas were that she needed the help in.
okay.
It was just about, we
Passing the
have general,
test.
yeah, we have some general tutoring available, and then when they get in the courses, we find out that it was just about them passing the test. It wasn't in the area that her scores reflected she needed the actual help in. So we
Right.
had to pay somebody for those particular areas. So it's, even though they offer it, it's not always what that individual child needs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
And
you're
that's,
so right.
yeah,
You're
and
so
it's
right.
unfortunate because it should be geared towards, if they're going to give them the other tests to
Hmm.
show where their levels are, then they should have the support that goes with that to say your scores are here and here is the help to improve those scores in these particular areas and to build those skills up.
Yep. You get what you pay for, huh?
That's
Bottom
right.
line.
Basically.
That's what grandma's saying. You get what you pay for. We
Yeah.
might feel like, oh, they're getting some, but you're right. There's
Yeah.
always that catch. I
Yeah,
know.
and
That's
it's
how I was saying
unfortunate.
about, yeah, I was saying about coding. We get the support for coding now,
Very
but
true.
can I get the support for becoming an engineer?
Exactly.
You know, there's so many things that we're gonna have to go farther and beyond. Like my daughter was saying that um they have like a Thursday class on one of her classes, but they just go over questions or something. And I said, well, make sure you're in there every Thursday. And she said, why? I said, because if you don't know like I know, you know. So I was like,
Mhm.
they will say that on Thursday we went over that and you missed it, you know? And I
Right.
was like,
Yeah.
there's no way that they're gonna have a class that meets and I'm not gonna be participating in it. You gotta
Amen.
JB, can I
go and
say
get it.
something quickly about public schools? Because
Yes.
I can't not say something about public schools.
Yes,
The
indeed.
reason that the testing is geared toward passing the standardized test is because of state accreditation. So you have to have a certain
Mm.
percentage of students testing. So
Hmm.
you're going to give the tutoring to those students. To change that, we need to have people run for office. And so they're in a position to make decisions on public education and not complain
Mm.
about
So true. And I'm not running. But somebody should run, and we should find our own candidate. How you think, right, Mr. Bozeman?
Exactly.
We should have candidates nationally, and then we can have candidates locally, you know, and then you can say why, and then you can get the support, and we can tell you what we need you to represent. That's pretty much how it works, right? I think that a lot of times, we don't understand the political process and we don't understand the business process.
True.
We
Yeah.
only see what we're told. And
We're
that's
employees primarily.
wow. Wow.
Employees
Right? Mm.
employees don't know what's happening, but in the back room.
And then when we get people in the inside, they don't come back out and tell us what's up.
Yeah.
Like the stuff like that I tell y'all about like the business and like quotes and stuff like that and different things and how people that's like seriously insider information. Like I talk to y'all like you in the business with me. Other but that's the kind of information that you need to get empowered.
Yep.
That's right.
So
Yep.
what I'm saying? So they're just talking to us and appeasing us
Mhm.
instead of empowering us. When we vote someone in there, they should have a responsibility to empower us. Uh, I remember a politician wanted to see all these business people. And so when I went to the meeting, I asked him what was he going to do to help black people get more contracts with the government. He shut down the meeting. Shut down the meeting. Basically, it was like, well, if you want to be like that, I was like, I don't even do government contracts. I work with individual investors. I'm just saying for all the other black people in here, like, what are you going to do to help them? That's why they're here. I don't know why I'm here. I'm just here. Like, y'all can't do anything for me. They just asked me to come. He was Audi 5,000. So we do need to get a better understanding and get comfortable with asking for what we want.
We
So,
can't become leaders
Comment.
unless we have that information. And that's
mm,
why it's important that what you're doing is giving information. I
yes.
remember my frustration with working in the community was everybody was looking for a leader.
Mm,
And no matter how much work I did in trying to help them elevate themselves, it was that they expected me to take care of the business,
mm,
which after 18-hour days and 7-day weeks,
mm.
I burned out.
Yep. Because you had a corporate job. I always like wonder about that. The and I did that I had this community advocates panel one time, and I was asking them about that. How much of your income, because none of them had corporate jobs. How much of your income do you sacrifice? By doing this. And I mean, it's impossible to tell. But you do give up a lot. I think about, but it has to be
I
like if
wanted
you
to,
have a movement, you have a movement, right, Miss Witherspoon? It is,
yes,
what
I
it is.
I had a thought like as far as I think voting is important as far as like honoring our ancestors and um what they had to go through in order for us to have that right. But I think that we've been given this great opportunity. Everything has changed as far as like the world is structured and how the systems function, and it's not working. And so I think as Black people, we're stuck because we keep thinking that we're going to use an old system and we want to stay in the old mindset. There's so much money that we have within our own group. I was just reading an article about a Korean shop owner, and he had a Black woman that was working with him, and she saved his store, or she was trying to save his store from the riots when people were like out in the
Mm,
streets wanting to break in the windows. And so this man sent his two children to private school and to college off of the billions of dollars that Black people spend just on hair care products. And
mm,
her son, she was able to pay, he paid her $14 an hour, but she was not able to finish sending her son to
mm,
college. And so he talked about how, she talked about him being a kind man and a good man.
mm,
And he talked about maybe helping her open her own store when he retires. But I'm
mm,
saying to myself, as Black
mm,
people, we sit here and we're like, okay, I voted. So
mm,
I don't consider myself a millennial. I don't,
mm,
but I guess people put me in that group. But young people are voting. Like people in my age bracket and younger are going to vote, and they're showing their stickers and stuff like that. But that's not what's going to change. Like the school system. So we're sitting here talking about how the public school system is failing our kids, but we're sending our kids there, and we actually have most of Black women are teachers and stuff. We can educate our own children. We're not taking
mm,
enough responsibility. And then even with the
mm.
relationships between Black men and Black women, and I don't know, is it Mr. Bozeman who
Yeah.
made that comment about it? But there is a sick relationship between Black men and women in the United States where we're not willing to play certain roles and do what's needed to protect our communities and to raise our children. And so we have Black men who, like, there shouldn't be any jealousy over the elevation of the Black woman for what the Black woman has done. And the
Mm,
reason why the community suffers is because the Black woman is not protected and respected. And then at the same time, the Black man cannot get the respect
mm,
and that he wants and that he deserves because he's not protecting his woman and
mm,
elevating his community. And so we now have to take some time out to think about these changes, the opportunities that we have to make the changes and the pathologies in our community in order to really make a change. So we
mm,
have to change our conversations. We have to pull
mm,
our money back into our communities. It
mm,
starts with even just loving your own hair. So many people that are my peers say like,
mm,
"Oh, I don't like the way I look with my natural hair," but you're going to go
mm,
give $1 billion to a group
mm.
that doesn't even treat you with respect when you go into their building and you have the
That's
nerve to
right.
complain about it.
That's right.
That's
So
right.
we can
That's
make
right.
changes and
Mm,
we have to do it.
mm-hmm.
Yes, we
I
do.
mean, you do. I mean, I
We do.
I agree. That is like the underlying theme of. I think we all agree with that. Like but love is the answer. You know,
And it has to
we
start with our minds.
Yep, we can't
With our
stop.
minds. With a, we make up our mind that this is what's going to happen. That
Mm,
because I think that the salvation of the Black community is the Black woman.
mm,
You've kept us alive this long,
mm,
and now that you're rising, there's
mm,
this anger towards you, but the
mm,
anger is actually out of frustration because the
mm,
Black man is the target.
mm.
Uh,
And we can't give up on the Black man.
Oh
Like,
no.
and I think that, if there is a Black man that is, mad at the Black woman, it's mostly because he's afraid that we'll give up on him. You
That's a
know,
good point.
and we have to recommit as Black women to the Black man. That video, that podcast I was telling y'all that I did to on Father's Day to today's Black man, and how these white men and women attacked me for doing it. I mean, that we have to think about, like, if I had done, well, I did it when I did the one on Mother's Day. There were no white people that attacked me for saying the Black woman is powerful and she's beautiful and wonderful, and to know, you're worth more than pearls, and every rubies and all these positive things I said about women. Nobody cared, but I do a podcast on the beautifulness of and how wonderful my father was, and you know what I mean, and how blessed I am, and they go crazy. Oh, the black man is all of that now. Oh, he doesn't even know who his kids are. He's so and so. I mean, the comments. And one man said, "I should be dead by the hung by the morning." So it's really something for. I mean, I do feel that as black women, like we just need to get to set as a rule that we will not say negative stereotypes about our men. Don't say anything about a black man that you would not want a black man to say about you. Because I can't stand when black men say, oh, black women are blah, 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 because you can't, we have to stop that. There isn't, and we can't exist without each other. But I do feel that, it could start with us, like, recommitting, to believing in the black man and the black family.
All right.
That's right. We'll never give up on the black man. That's right. Never do. Well, I appreciate you all so much. Y'all have a wonderful night. I will talk to you
Too.
Friday morning. Everyone is invited. Sign up for membership though. Friday morning, the members only, and then Sunday morning as well. And then by Wednesday next week, this time, we may have a new president. So, in summary, as far as your money and the election, don't allow yourself to get emotional. Stay focused on the long term. You know, realize that you have short term, you have long term goals. Let's make sure that we talk about each and what we need to do, but don't get emotional and nothing. No matter who wins, nothing is going to change very quickly. We're talking about something where most things will need to go through Congress anyway. And if you think there are going to be tax law changes, let's discuss them together and make sure that we are addressing tax planning regardless. Well, we'll stay up on that and we'll, have certain things to look for if there's, Biden wins, and we'll have certain changes to expect if Trump wins. But the stay empowered and stay focused. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email.
Good night.
Oh, Mr. Bozeman, I appreciate you more than you will ever know. Thank you.
That was good. Yep.
Thank you.
Oh, boy, the hype.
You're the
Okay,
best.
where is it? How did I get
You're
this
the
stuff?
best. Good night.
Good night.
Good night now.